Fes, Morocco is a world unto itself. It pulls you in slowly through its historic gates, its narrow alleys, workshops, smoke, steam, and the smell of leather and mint tea. Founded more than 1,200 years ago, this was once Morocco's capital, a city of dense medina streets that became a center of religion, scholarship, trade, and craft. Today, I'm meeting Ayoub, a local guide who seems to know everyone around every corner of the old city. He's going to lead me through the food, the workshops, and the stories of Fes. And at the end, we'll meet my new friend Omar, who's invited us for a traditional Friday couscous lunch at his beautiful riad.
Entonces, buenas, mi nombre es Ayoub, yo soy guía turístico aquí en Fes, yo ejerzo trabajo desde el 2018. Entonces, yo nací aquí en el casco viejo de Fes, en la medina más grande y la mayor zona peatonal del mundo sin tráfico de coches. Tengo mucha historia aquí en Fes, desde cuando era niño, porque yo nací en esta ciudad también. Entonces, bienvenida para cualquier persona que quiera visitar la ciudad aquí en Fes, y que sean la bienvenida también.
Our first stop of the day is L'Arc du Bronze, where metal is still worked by hands in the old Medina. Fes has long been known for its artisans, and copper, brass, and bronze work here are part of that world. Lamps, trays, doors, knockers, and decorative pieces shaped by hammer, fire, and patience. It is not separate from the food culture. It comes from the same city. Skilled hands, inherited knowledge, and work that refuses to be rushed.
That one is here in 1968. When he working in the door of Royal Palace. When he finish, we felicit with the King Hassan II. Here we have many famous people who visit this gallery, like the visit of our King Mohammed VI over here. And we have the visit of his brother Moray Rashid, Queen from Spain, and also Reagan over here. As you see, my brother, the artist normally he will use on only this little tool. No designs, no pattern, no nothing, all by imagination. So we have now going to see another quality. This one here, this is engraved work. This is normally it's Jewish work. Here we do this one in jewelry of silver, like chains, like necklace, like belt, like breasts, like everything. The artisans of Morocco, here we do this kind of work in trade. The last creation what we have in our store is that one here, the enamel color. This is the enamel color. And this one, enamel and painting, and when we finish with painting, we make it in an oven. Here we fix the enamel, and they don't change color. You stay like this or like that. Lovely, this is lovely pieces. Because we are artists, we are not exposition from business. We are artists. We learn this kind of job, generation to generation.
Ready for breakfast, Ayoub and I go look for bisarra, a simple fava bean soup that says a lot about the city. It's not fancy food, it's morning food, worker food. A bowl of dried fava beans cooked down with garlic, olive oil, cumin, and heat until it becomes something humble and deeply satisfying. In Morocco, bisarra is often eaten as a street food or at home, especially in the north where it can be served as soup or even a thicker dip to be had with bread.
El luego para comerlo lo servimos en nuestra cultura en un cuenco de barro como ese, de nuestra cultura marroquí también. Y claro, cuando lo servimos también te da una cuchara.
Okay.
Claro.
Normalmente sin cuchara. Sí.
Normalmente sin cuchara porque hay gente que lo come con pan.
Sí.
Porque el pan forma parte de nuestra cultura marroquí. Cada comida en Marruecos siempre la comemos con pan, excepto el couscous.
Okay.
El couscous siempre lo tomamos en los viernes también. Y después cuando lo sirve el señor, te lo da con aceite de oliva y ajo molido también. Y luego hay gente que quiere añadir también comino, porque el comino es como, en nuestra cultura, es como también lo usamos para la gente que tiene dolor del estómago.
Okay.
También, como te he dicho por la mañana, es que cuando una persona tiene dolor del estómago, siempre coge un poco de comino y lo pone en su boca y con agua caliente siempre limpia el estómago también, sí. Cebada es un tipo de trigo también, por eso siempre lo comemos con bisarra también. No es pan normal de harina. Allí tiene de harina normal, pero preferimos esto de cebada también, de trigo. En nuestra cultura, antes de empezar, sí que decimos Bismillah.
Bismillah. Saha.
Saha.
Delicious.
So I've spent a lot of time in Morocco, almost 5 months, and I love bisarra. It's one of the dishes that I always come back to when, like, first thing when I get in the country. Although you can't find it in every city, oddly enough. It's really creamy, it's decadent, the olive oil is fresh, you can really taste the spices, it picks up the cumin well, and honestly it's kind of like split pea soup from an American perspective. It's got that nice fava bean background, but I guess it's health food, so sacha, on to the next one.
Sorry for the interruption, but I got the GoPro out to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark. The life of a nomad is always interesting. You could be filming a food video in Morocco, you could be walking around talking to yourself on a camera in front of the Georgia Technical University building here in Tbilisi. The thing that is vital for me no matter where I go is internet connection. You don't cross a busy street without checking both ways. You don't go out into the winter cold without a jacket. So why would you go onto the internet without protecting yourself and making sure that no one is going to steal something important from you or put a virus on your computer? We wouldn't want that. VPNs do a lot of things, and I use them every day while I'm abroad. But I would also use them at home too for a lot of different reasons. First off, it creates a secure encrypted tunnel, so your data, and more importantly what you're browsing, stays private. This is especially crucial if you've ever used public Wi-Fi, like at an airport, a university, a cafe. People can steal your browsing history, your passwords, your credit card information, or just personal information you don't want floating around on the internet. You can think of it like putting you in this tunnel, which takes you safely under the street, so it keeps you safe while you're crossing. So that's the point. I'm in the tunnel now. The great part about Surfshark is that one subscription covers you on all devices simultaneously. Laptops, iPads, computers, phones, whatever you've got internet on, you're covered. They've also got something really cool called alternative ID. When you're browsing the internet, it creates a masked online persona and a proxy email address so that your information doesn't get taken by websites, and then it fills your inbox with tons of spam that nobody wants. So if you want to upgrade your online security this year, use my code talesvpn at checkout or go to their website www.surfshark.com/talesvpn and they'll give you 4 months extra of Surfshark just because you signed up. They've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, so why not give it a shot? All right, now back to the Moroccan food.
From there, Ayoub takes us deeper into the alleys, to a place I never would have found on my own, deep in the heart of a smoky food alley. Here, meat steams inside large copper drums across from kebabs sizzling on charcoal. The drums are full to the brim with camel hump, beef offal, head bits, with smaller drums filled with chicken, tangled with vermicelli noodles. This is not food designed to be pretty. It's food designed to use everything, to waste nothing, and to turn the tough, strange, and overlooked into something rich, tender, and worth remembering.
Ahora estamos en el segundo sitio.
See?
Es carne y pollo a la vapor también.
Okay, so we have our plate of meat here. I've eaten this once before. The camel hump, very funky. I'm excited to try. We'll do a little dusting of some pepper. We have enough cumin on there to kill somebody, and a little salt maybe? Salt, of course. All right, you gotta try the camel hump first. You know, it's not the first thing that comes to mind when you're trying Moroccan food, but you know, people always picture camels, but honestly, there's lots of Morocco that is very like green and very like Mediterranean, but when you're on the edge of the desert, camel hump. And then this meat like just steams all day, so the fibers, like they get all nice and tender. So every day they do 6 cow heads, cuts it up, falls off the bone, and then you just got like a little bit of everything. It's really like this kind of food, it's waste not, want not, and you're really making delicious things out of things that a lot of people get rid of, which shows you the skill and also the that old school vibe.
After the meat, we step back into the world of craft. Fes has been a textile city for centuries, and weaving here is not just about the fabric. It's about ceremony, family, status, and memory. Traditional weavers worked with techniques passed down over generations, producing cloth for homes, celebrations, and weddings.
First, you're welcome. I give you some idea for this traditional loom. This machine, I make it some fabric for dress, some scarf, cover, sofa curtain. I work with 4 materials. The first thing that's cotton, sheep wool, velvets, and silk. This silk in Morocco is vegetable, not warm silk. Silk from agave, silk from these plants, from tequila in Mexico. Look at it, I put it, my friend, liquid. To see inside you have many thread, it's strong, it's soft.
Okay.
In after in the market, you make the vegetable color. After you make it in spool. The inside the machine, I have some shuttle. The shuttle, I have some spool inside. This spool for change material. Sometimes wool, silk, cotton. In after I put this shuttle inside. This machine, I have 2,600 thread. This is the white for 2 meters. I have 2 feeder down for openness. In openness, half thread up, half down. After the man, you put the shuttle right, left, in finish, you closer behind. Maybe to see the work, come my friend this side. Look at here, you have 3 material. The red one is cotton. The shiny parts agave. This is velvet.
Okay.
Look at also something is handmade, is reversible. Is no right, no left. After I show you the products, in after 3 days the work. Yes, this is the force fabric. Inside, I have 3 material. The red one is cotton. The shiny parts agave. The other is the velvet. This like bed cover, but spread sofa curtains. Also the agave is wash machine cold water. Cold water not shrink. I have also something smaller like scarf. How many camel for your beauty? 10,000 camels?
10,000 camels for my beauty, yes.
Also for nice smile, you put it the veil like this.
Next, we tuck into an old school Moroccan tea house. The kind of place that feels like it's been waiting for you since before you were born. Behind the counter, a man is making tea from an ancient samovar, blending mint with herbs and spices. Moroccan mint tea is never just a drink. It's hospitality, punctuation, and a pause for the day. Sometimes, it's just green tea and mint. Especially in colder weather in Fez, it may include herbs like sheba or wormwood, which adds a bitter, almost medicinal edge.
Para empezar, aquí, por ejemplo, estamos hablando sobre un tipo de té muy auténtico. Primero tiene que calentar el agua en este recipiente también que se llama samovar. Existe en Rusia, para los rusos también, en madera. En Rusia es para el vino, caliente también. Pero en Marruecos es para el té. Y para el té marroquí, mucha gente que viene por primera vez creen que el té marroquí es un tipo de té que se hace solamente con menta, pero no. El té marroquí es un tipo de té que se hace con diferentes hierbas también. Y luego, como estás mirando, cuando hierve el agua también, pone té verde. Este de China, té verde. Y luego, cuando se produzcan las burbujas también, añade los tipos de menta que os ha dado antes también, como 3 tipos de menta que os ha enseñado antes también. Salvia, majorana, el romero y otra también cosa se llama verbena y absenta también. Absenta, por ejemplo, cuando hablamos sobre absenta, como musulmanes la podemos tomar, pero de manera natural, como hierba, sin fermentar, porque en España lo toman como licor de absenta es alcohol. Pero aquí es una hierba también que la tiene aquí. Sí, pues ahora lo vamos a probar porque lo acabé de preparar también.
Es caldo.
Yes. Caldo, está bien, ¿no?
Moroccan tea is so good. They have the 8 herbs. They really all sort of come together in the hot water. And then they add a lot of sugar, so it's also like almost a dessert and a drink at the same time. Floral, aromatic, really good mint, gives you that menthol feel. And it's just so addicting.
And then the legendary tanneries. Fez does not hide its labor. It lays out in the open, and these are some hard-working people. Stone vats, hides, dye, sun, smell, and men working inside a system that has survived for centuries. Chouara Tannery is one of the oldest and largest tanneries in Fez.
Thanks a lot to be here. Actually, this place here is the oldest tannery exists in all of the world, and living centuries old. Then here, we still work with the same process, from generation to other, father to son. No chemicals. It's 100% natural. We make 4 kinds of skins: camel skin, goat skin, sheep skin, and cow skin. When we bring the skins in here, we put in white basins with the water and limestone. We keep it 2 days. Limestone, they burn the skins, then they make easy for the artisan to sleep the wool and the hair from the skins off. After that, we clean it again with the water and we move it to the other basins in the corner there. From there, actually, we get the smell because we use water and pigeon droppings, pigeon poop, and that's what you smell because the pigeon poop has ammonia to soften the skin. And after that, we have to take the smell off. we have a big washing machine, it's under the building, and there we wash the skins with the water and cedar wood powder, because cedar wood absorbing the smell. And we dry. Then the last stage is the colors. The dyes we have here, it's all natural. Like blue we get from indigo stones, green we get it from mint, orange from the henna, red from the poppy flowers. Sometimes we mix 2 or 3 pigments together to make different color. We mix it with the water, we keep it inside color 25 days. Every day we have to move the skins like that's absorbing the color. And after that we have to dry. Then we make all the stuff we see here.
After hours inside the Medina, we say our goodbye to Ayoub. He's shown us the public face of Fez, the food stalls, the workshops, the trade, the noise, the movement. But now the day shifts. We leave the alleys and step into something more personal. A riad, a kitchen, and an invitation. Le Grand Alcazar is the project of Omar and his twin brother, and walking inside feels like entering a different rhythm of the city. Outside, Fez is dense and chaotic. Inside, the riad is quiet, tiled, measured, full of intention, and absolutely luxurious. These old houses were built around interior courtyards, turning away from the street and inward towards family, privacy, and hospitality. This is where the story moves from the street to home
Very
cooking.
welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to Le Grand Alcazar. My name is Omar.
My name is Othman.
And we are the co-owners of this riad, and you are the most welcome anytime you come to visit Fez.
Be able to share with you this experience of making couscous, which is very important, one of the most important Moroccan traditional dish.
And today it's Friday, so there's no better dish than a couscous on a Friday. We're very happy to share this time with you.
In Morocco, Friday couscous is more than lunch. It comes after the weekly prayer when families gather and the meal becomes a kind of ceremony. In Omar's kitchen, couscous is not rushed, and it honestly took all morning to make. The grains are steamed, fluffed by hand, and then steamed again until they're light. The broth builds separately with vegetables and meat. And then comes the tfeya, onions cooked slowly with raisins, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and a sweetness that collapses into a silky, spiced, and almost jam-like consistency. It's the kind of dish that tells you exactly where you are, and it's something worth waiting for Fridays for.
Finally, we made it.
You're a real Moroccan now.
It's good. If you've ever had couscous, sometimes like if it's not made in a couscousier, which is the steaming method, it's really, sometimes it can be kind of mushy. This one is like light and airy and really like full, you know, it's the texture is really, really nice and it soaks up this sauce really well. And then everything that goes on top, you can really taste all of the different vegetables, the carrots, the potatoes, the nave. So let's eat off of the big plate. Really good. Happy Friday.
By the end of a day like this, Fez feels less like a place you visit as a tourist and a place that allows you to really see what it is. Ayoub showed me the city through its alleys and artisans, Omar opened the door to its private kitchens and the deliciousness inside. And somewhere between the fava beans, the copper steam, the tannery vats, the mint tea, and that Friday couscous, Fez did what all old cities do best. It reminded me that food is never just food, it's memory, labor, survival, and of course, welcome. Marhaba.